Hello, we're back. So this should be the very last video tutorial of our mask making emotions craft, I guess. It took me a while, mostly because this particular mask has been extremely delicate compared to the rage mask, and I find so many metaphors in that I'm going to try to reel it back in. But anyway, yes, it was very delicate. It kind of went through a lot of pain, poor thing. It got dropped a couple times, and yeah. Anyway, so we're at a point where I think we can move on to the next step. The other thing that took me a while is I knew I would have to do it in my, I guess you could call it studio space, the place where I make art. But it was a disaster that I did not want you guys to see. And I'm sure you guys are like, Christine, still is a disaster. That's my point. Anyway, so I cleared it out, and now we are ready for the next step. So this is where we are at with the grief mask right here. You can see I've covered it mostly, for the most part, with the spackling. And it works pretty well. I wonder what it would be like with clay. I think it would have a different reaction for sure. What I like about spackling is you can kind of go over it and mold it way better than clay in a sense after it's been dried, but it's also extremely delicate. So if you are overusing it like I was with this thing because of how broken to pieces this guy was, then it's might not be the best choice. But this is where we are, this poor sad guy, and now we are going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to do a very specific thing that I would like to try, which is why I've placed him on a piece of cup, like a piece of cup that's upside down, propped, so that it's not touching anything. So I did the same thing with my rage mask, and I just took acrylic paint and I poured the heck out of it. But the acrylic paint that I used was very cheap kind of acrylic paint, and it was very thick and gloppy, which ended up really looking cool, I think, but it also didn't do what I had initially intended it to do, and it kind of added more texture, which again ended up pretty cool. But I wanted to try something a little bit more drippy with the grief mask. I do recommend using acrylic mainly, or some other kind of plastic-based paint. You can use spray paint or even house paint, but I would not recommend oil paint or any sort of oil-based paint, or water-based paint. I would even recommend not using gouache necessarily, although you could probably add that on top of the acrylic paint as some sort of detail. So we have this acrylic paint, and I took the same cheap acrylic paint that I had originally. I don't know why I'm having trouble speaking right now. Anyway, and I watered it down because I wanted it to pour. And so yeah, let's see what happens. Also, while I'm pouring, I want to tell you that it's probably a wise idea to keep a paintbrush on hand so that you can cover any sort of bits that the drippage may have missed. Oh, poor guy. So sad. It's pretty, I don't know, relaxing. I like doing this. This is great. Okay. And then I'm going to add a bit of white. I should have brought some water. Oh, I have water. I have water. Good. Did not think that one through. Okay. So I'm going to add some white, because I would like to do something a little bit different than the Rage mask. See how gloppy this thing is? Oh wait, you can't because I'm literally out of the camera. It's really gloppy. And I'm gonna take water. I just want to add a different kind of texture because with the Rage mask, what I did was I took my airbrush, which not everybody has, and I sprayed the gold and the black on there for extra texture. But since the grief mask is probably going to be just a little different, I just thought that it would be cool to add some drippage type of texture, you know, like tears, I guess. And cover areas where he hadn't been touched quite yet. Looking kind of cool, if I do say so myself. All right, add a bit more. All right, I think you get the point. So I'm dripping him so he looks like he's been kind of crying a little bit. And you can add as much or as little texture as you'd like to this thing. It's really up to you. You can do detail, kind of like Venetian masks, or you can just be a little bit more vague in how you decide to color it, like the Rage mask here. You can be a bit more free, like the Grief mask. But for the most part, how you decorate it is up to you. I just recommend you use a, I'm going to sneeze, plastic-based paint. And I think you get the point here. So I'll let you go, and good luck.